Okay, well for me there are three things about the conference. One is the general optimism of many of the participants about the future of the welfare state in Europe. This is something I find as a surprise and in some ways a shock, but maybe that's because I come from the UK, where things are rather different. Second thing struck me is the high academic standard of almost all the presentations, and this really fits in with the impression there's been substantial improvement in quality of work in social policy research and the way in which quantitative and qualitative methods are linked together and respected by both groups. The third thing that struck me about the conference was the emphasis on the interaction between the economic and social dimensions of the EU, the importance of EMU and of the policies of the European Central Bank, and how, if we are to make a way forward in social policy, we really have to address the economic issues and the economic arguments, and particularly find ways of changing the policies of the European Central Bank. That's the only serious way we can achieve an integration across European welfare states.
Yeah, it was very interesting because, as a welfare state scholar coming from the sociological, social policy perspective, I found the different kind of disciplinary approaches to welfare states and welfare state futures and attitudes really interesting and important. I love the diversity of the methodological approaches that were used and learned a lot. I learned to communicate with economists, which is great. And also, I like how, I like the feeling that a lot of us have perhaps a similar goal in preserving the welfare state and enriching it, but coming from very different disciplines, but sharing that goal. So I thought that was really excellent. And also, of course, the international diversity and the people coming from all different countries and the different experiences that they share. That was very interesting as well.
I think as a researcher you always kind of being very narrow on your topic and being very focused on what you're doing and having like a broad overview of all the different topics that are discussed here, like target groups like children and elderly and immigrants. That's kind of a very nice setting how to discuss different stuff. Yeah. And of course the methodological approaches that were presented, I think that was pretty awesome because also with respect to that you're also very focused on your methods and what you're doing, and also to have like a broad overview of different approaches, especially qualitative studies and quantitative studies coming together, discussing the topics, and that was pretty awesome.
So from a policy perspective, this conference was really an excellent opportunity to get first-hand look at the research, the cutting-edge research that we're seeing in the field of welfare. And the coverage was of such a broad scope that we got to see both the theory as well as the on-ground research. And to me, I find that extremely useful, especially at a time when evidence-based policymaking is really the priority. We not only got some implications for the way that we can move welfare policy into the future, but also a lot about public opinion, which is really the way that we should be shaping policy going forward. So I found it to be a perfect mix of different disciplines, and I'm really grateful that I got to attend.
So I think one of the most exciting things about the conference was the interdisciplinarity that's reflected in investigating a common theme. The problem of welfare state futures is obviously an enormous problem, and not just for Western Europe, but for other parts of the world as well. So I think one of the things that I'm taking away from it is thinking about the importance of public opinion and citizens' frameworks for understanding welfare states. I think this is quite a different way of thinking about social policy from a lot of traditional research, but it's a very promising one because it goes to the specific problems that actors face in their everyday lives and the ways in which social policy shapes the problems and provides solutions, and shapes the problems even after solutions are available.
I think the most informative part is that we also actually touched upon new concepts within the research, so access to welfare, knowledgeability about welfare, and how that may affect support, or the position of, for example, also elderly or migrants.
You asked me what I liked about the conference, and I think it's been a very rewarding conference. It's been so exciting to meet with all these people from different fields in welfare state research. And I think we got a lot of valuable comments and very important questions to take with us. Also, it's been in a very friendly environment and very nice to be in Florence. So, thank you for the conference.
Okay, it was very interesting, I think, to see the progress all the projects made, and now we're at the end of the projects, also to see more the final results, and it's really stimulating for future research. It's really nice.
And it was really enjoyable also to meet all the colleagues again, because there's so many different themes represented in this whole program, and also to see the cross-cutting themes that we all have, also to think of future collaborations in that way, and how to take it further from here.
Yes, I agree. I think also it has been very interesting to be here, and it has been interesting to follow your own research group, getting comments, but also going into other research groups and getting new ideas.
So just wanted to share our impressions from the conference. It just ended a few hours ago, and I think we both agreed it was a great experience, and I think one of the reasons is that most of the people from the projects were here, so it was good to see all these people that we knew that are the part of the same network, but to see them at one place and hear actually the results from other projects and how they linked or intersected in a way. So it was a really nice experience. And then, as I mentioned before, to see that not all of them were kind of in a really final stage. Projects are ending now, most of them, but still there was some research that has been started because some of the results or the research has been done more recently. So it's nice to see that the work on these ideas that were the basis or the focus of these projects is still continuing and people are still collaborating on it. So it also kind of is a perspective for the future.
And to add to that, I think there was a really optimistic view of the welfare state in all the results that were presented at this conference. And in spite of discussing the problems that welfare state faces and faced, the research kind of shows that we should have an optimistic view of the future, of the welfare state futures.